Well, good day, everybody. It's the 17th of March, 2025. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, exactly 8 o'clock in the morning. And it's like -2, and as you see, we have snow on the ground. It was just snowing a minute. Well, it is still slightly snowing, but not very much. So, who knows? Makes you wonder when the snow is going to end. Hey, kitty! Oh, hey. Another stray cat running around out in the snow, and lots of people going to work, as you see everywhere. A lot of contradictions going on in the news, so let's get into that. Today is Monday, and Trump was supposed to announce some kind of a great breakthrough with this Ukraine deal here, but it looks like it's not going to happen. I think I just read that he postponed it until Tuesday, and I don't even see it's going to happen Tuesday because everything is contradicting itself. So, gosh, I just got out of the shower. Sorry about this. My hair, it makes you wonder in the movies, people's hair never goes in front of their face and in their mouth and all that kind of crap. So how do they do that? I don't know. Okay, let's see. The pro-Russian resistance. This is put out yesterday. You guys might have seen it somewhere in the news. But the pro-Russian resistance, and of course it's based on Nikolaev. The guy's name is not important. It's Ledbedev or something like that. And he informed that among the troops trapped in Kursk, those that actually got away, the ones that ran away first, are of course our big, powerful, brutal Azov people, as well as the Kraken battalion, and the Poles. The Poles took off too. The Polish people, most of them. I don't know if there's many at all there, but apparently they're still, at least they're putting out about 30 United States, well, did they say NATO? NATO, 30 NATO officers, and yeah, it's bound to be some of them from the United States. And I didn't say US or European, I said NATO officers. And even Donald Trump, I think I mentioned that even yesterday, he tries to make it sound specific that these were Ukrainian soldiers, Well, he knows that it's NATO soldiers there. He knows probably that US soldiers are there still. Maybe the US contingent is smaller than, of course, the French and the British, and of course the Poles have a lot more. They've always had a lot more, and I guess that's still true, mostly in those areas. And this whole thing launched against Kursk. It was an operation from NATO. It was a NATO operation. The whole thing was planned and for the most part led, probably to a large extent, conducted by NATO soldiers. And then I've told you guys in videos, because of my time in the military and kind of special operations types of people, that a lot of these people, they get their status taken, at least temporarily. So technically speaking, they're not in the US Army anymore, and they get to even blow their hair a little bit longer and have a beard and all that kind of crap. And they're like, so to speak, mercenaries. And that's what it's, that's their cover, is kind of what it is. Just leave it at that. Okay. And as far as this attack, I'm going to cover a lot of things here. This attack on the Yemen, on the Ansar Allah, which was not an attack on Ansar Allah. It was an attack on Yemen and the people, apparently, by the United States. And there's been video footage now put out. Really, really horrible stuff. And most of what you see are very badly injured and burned children. A lot of them alive, but in very, very, very bad shape. Limbs missing and things. They showed just 2 guys, and they're obviously not soldiers of any kind. And I think they didn't say there were hundreds of dead. They said, I think it was I don't know, I think the dead is measured now like in the 30s. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe it was 40. So it's not that important. Even if it was 50, what are you going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? The dead are the dead and all, but a lot of injured as well. Maybe at least a few hundred. Badly injured. A lot of children. That's the worst part about it, and they show that. And the great old United States. The thing is that when Ansar Allah was attacking people, no civilians ever died. And I think in grand total, dead from Israelis and everybody included is like 5 people. So they're not people that want to take lives, but the United States has this ingrained, what do you say, ingrained opinion of collateral damage. It's not just from movies, Chuck Norris movies and all that sort of thing, or Schwarzenegger, or whatever the deal is. It's a nasty thing, killing innocent people. And there's nothing against that, I guess, from these people here. Wind is blowing. Let me get my hair out of my face. Get the hair out of my face. Okay? Oh, that reminds me, just saying, get that thing out of my face. Like I remember seeing these tapes, in 2014, when some Russian reporter comes up to somebody in like military uniform and asking, "Oh, what's kind of going on in the?" And the guy says, "Get that thing out of my face," in perfect English. And I think some people, were commenting, "Oh, so some sort of English accent," but to me it sounded American, undeniably American. So that's 2014. That was in Crimea. So let's get on to this stuff. I have another little notion about Korea to talk about. But you don't want to be looking for these videos of these children missing limbs and burned, a lot of their bodies, and really struggling. It's really, really terrible. The good old US of A. And, a strange thing is, they didn't provoke the United States. I don't think the Houthis said anything even about the United States. They said that they were going to resume things against Israel because Israel continues to starve out the people. And of course, Israel has come out and admitted to give these people in Gaza just barely enough, to make their lives completely miserable, but just, to make that so they can barely survive. So, and of course, a lot of them are not surviving. A lot of them a lot of sickness, no medications in, very, very, very little food, not very good high quality food, nothing, and like no toilet paper. That's just how that is, Great old Zionism, and Trump, of course, is in full favor of it, apparently. What else here? Oh, I was talking yesterday about this, abduction of children, and of course how they are going against Vladimir Putin and saying that Putin, did this and that, and they say nothing about the many thousands, the tens of thousands of children that the Ukrainians are abducting, from even the Western Ukrainians, not just the Eastern Ukrainians. And orphans. They're taking children from parents and selling them. I mentioned it yesterday, but apparently this woman, the one that's behind the charge against Putin, her name is Tomoko Akane, and she's Japanese, very close with George Soros, just like prosecutors and all that. George Soros, as you know, has been going around and getting all these prosecutor generals and all of these things all over the United States, and he is putting them in, and then of course when criminals come to court, they're letting them go. People that murder people, they're letting them back on the streets. And then you put people that maybe had possession of a couple of grams of marijuana, those are the ones that go to prison for years. And the murderers and things, they're the ones that it's just like Kamala Harris. I guess she was doing the same thing. I don't know, but she was doing some crazy stuff. And obviously she's a big fan of George Soros, and Soros is a fan of hers, but it seems to not work out that way. But she has some sort of education also from Columbia. Jeffrey Sachs was in Columbia, and so was Victoria Nuland. So I wonder what their opinions will be about her. Jeffrey Sachs is a good guy, and Victoria Nuland, he admits, is a bad person. So yes, but it was she's a big person, this Japanese lady of the Biden, Obama, Clinton, sort of a deal. And as I said, Putin, they have an arrest warrant out for him based on zero evidence, absolutely zero evidence, and all the evidence that's definitely against the Ukrainians, they just said, it just doesn't exist. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain. Okay. Okay. Yesterday I also saw an article. It was titled, "Ukraine must have to make." Or will have to make territorial concessions. I thought it was something old. It was Whitcliffe talking, the Trump's fix-it guy, I guess is what they call it. And so I didn't read it yesterday, so I read it this morning, and it's like strange. It said that these countries are saying the same things that they were saying before negotiations. And Trump's saying, oh, well, we might have this big breakthrough. It was supposed to be today, and now it's tomorrow. But I don't really see it, because nobody has really changed their positions. Ukraine, they still want sovereignty, even over Crimea. They want it all over. It's unbelievable. And as you know, there was an article. I kind of forget what it was. It was a kind of a tricky little name too, and it was really well written by some Russian. It was on RT. Unfortunately, you guys can't probably get RT. A lot of you that are watching this in the West. And I should have remembered it, because I was thinking that is excellent. I might have even saved it, but it was talking about how these countries are their diplomacy and maneuvering is absolutely fantastic right now. To include Ukraine, by the way, and Ukraine is actually, they make these mistakes, because they demand so very, very much, and they never want to give anything up, just like what's going on with they still demand sovereignty over all this. They probably still want, Putin to go to these, what is this war crimes tribunal or all that kind of stuff, but not Zelensky, of course, and not all these other people, Budanov and these nasty, nasty folks. So let's see. Oh gosh, my eyes from the wind here. There's a breeze here. Yes. But, a lot of people are saying that Putin was the better one, because he, they were all expecting him to flat out reject this ceasefire deal. And instead, it was kind of interesting. He put some conditions on it. And Trump, of course, didn't outright dismiss them. And, nobody really is. So, and of course, Ukraine is never going to fulfill those. So, and of course, the only thing that's happened is that Rutte and Trump and so many people have said, and for the most part, I would think they're all in agreement that Ukraine is not going to go into NATO. So that's one big step in Russia's favor. And let's see, what else? Trump. Yeah, like I said, he's saying, oh, it'll be tomorrow, maybe some news. Maybe, he said. So I don't know why he even said it. What did he say that like 4 days ago? I was talking about it yesterday, that there's going to be great news or whatever. And Medvedev, he came out, and he had some really strong words, like he normally does. He's really interesting. Medvedev is actually the one to watch. And it's not that things that he say and his little, kind of predictions that are going to happen. I think he was saying something about, or hinting about, Russia, going to get Odessa back and Kharkiv. And, at this point in time, there's no discussion about that. So it may never happen. You never know, though. So, but what did he say? He said that Starmer and Macron, they're playing stupid. I've been assuming that and mentioning that in all my videos, that they're putting out stuff maybe for public consumption, and it's like they don't really know what's going on. But it's he said they're playing stupid. They're playing dumb, and it's. They're going to send, well, I don't know if they didn't even say peacekeepers. They said troops, troops to Ukraine. And of course, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Even if it does happen, they're going to be bombed, and then of course that's going to be, and that's probably what they hope. That's, I'll tell you what, like politicians, like you and everybody, we all do this. We all have plans and say, well, if this happens, then we'll do this, plan B and all that sort of thing. And one of their plan Bs is, well, okay, then we got World War III going. And these people, Starmer and Macron and all, they care very little about their people. Not any more than Ukraine cares about their people, to send them as cannon fodder. They care about themselves, their own ambitions, their privileges, their money, their political donors, so that they can give them money so they can stay into power and, have a luxurious life. Boris Johnson, his funny white nose powder, him and Zelensky, nose powder people. So, yes, and I don't know. Well, Medvedev is mostly saying that they're going to be bombed, of course. How did I write it here? Well, I was saying that Starmer and Macron, they think Article 5 will be triggered, and the U.S. will join, and World War III, yeah, baby, we got it. But it's not really World War III that they want. They don't even want their countries to be bombed necessarily, but they just want to keep the war going. And it's like so many people said this. It's like Julian Assange says the whole idea is to keep the wars going, because then the money keeps flowing. The wars go and so does the money. And the people don't matter to none of these Western politicians. And that's one reason why, like I keep saying, is I like living over here where I am at. And I even believe it looks like China is a similar way. They care more about their people than they care about finding these devious ways to steal the money from whoever, their own people, other countries, whatever. And so it's more like people governments, like Belarus is. And if there's anybody, I've even said this many times. What's this? Some wind? Oh no. I've said this many times, that if you're going to give the Nobel Peace Prize to anybody who deserves it far more than anyone, it's Alexander Lukashenko. And they talk, oh, he's been in power, but has there ever been a war? Has there ever been a war with Alexander Lukashenko? No, absolutely not. He's even against war to the point because war is the biggest polluter on earth. So when you have a war going or big military conflicts, it's the biggest source of pollution. And he's mentioned that. But, he seems like a stern, unfriendly guy, doesn't smile a lot, and all that sort of crap. So he must be a bad guy. He doesn't smile like Obama. Obama smiles, so he must be a good guy, because he smiles a lot. So, judge that book by its cover, baby. So, okay. Another thing. I mentioned this yesterday, and we have to remember this, and I think it's very, very, very important, and it's the men behind the curtain for the most part, that Macron, he was a Rothschild's banker. And Starmer, of course, is British. Rothschilds, who is the Queen's bankers? The Rothschilds. Zelensky, when he ran over, after his humiliation by Trump, he ran over to the UK, and he met with the King Charles. And you can add a lot of these dots together, like Mike Rivera, as I mentioned yesterday, all wars are bankers' wars, and Madame Rothschild said if my sons didn't want there to be war, there would be no war. And I'm talking about even in the past. And, all of this stuff is very shocking, so you can kind of look behind. And it's not so important that the Rothschilds are Jewish, but I'll tell you what, the establishment of Israel, that was done with the Rothschilds. And I'm wondering if they actually own if they own that. And I'm thinking, the big question is who has more wealth, BlackRock or the Rothschild family? And a lot of people put them into the trillions, and Elon Musk is nothing but a little poor boy compared to the Rothschild family. Try to remember that. They just don't divulge their money, and even if it ever was divulged, it would be disappeared from the internet. So just saying. Okay, what else? But these rich people in these other countries, they're part of the military-industrial complex too. The politicians and all that, and very little chance that Russia is going to bomb any of them at any time. And these people know that, and that's why they're pushing the politicians. And it's just a big game, and it's the people behind the curtain, as we all know. So I hope this is not boring you guys. I'm sitting here underneath this stuff here. It's kind of windy out there, and it's cold as well. So yeah. But anyway, they're trying to provoke Putin, and of course, the whole idea is to get the United States in. Let's hate Russia. The Hate Russia Club. They want the resources. These are just, and who wants the is it the bankers? I mean, gosh, finding out, all these people are the men behind the curtain. You can't see them. Oh, interesting. Well, that's something to always be considered. Yes, but if the UK does send their troops there, and France, it makes you wonder how long it's going to last. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people riot in the streets. The French. I like the French in that way. Something they don't like, they're in the streets, baby. Not like the Germans. The Germans takes them way too much to get them in the streets. Okay. Yeah, playing stupid. Uh, and I guess the coalition of the stupid. I mean, the coalition of the willing. You know, they are marshaling up their forces. As you know, Ursula von der Leyen is 800 and who knows what billions of dollars they're marshaling to prepare for a big, huge war. They're even probably putting out dates of when they want this war to start. I think they said 2029. And it's like, wow, that's magic. Oh, Russia's going to attack at 2029? So that's when you have to defend yourself? Or is that when you're going to attack? Anyway, you never know what these people are all about. Anyway. So what do you think? Do you think after all this big talk, do you think Russia's just going to sit around and do nothing? I don't think so. Okay. Okay. Oh, another thing, which is actually the big news. The big news, and I was even forgetting this. It's and it's actually potential to be really big news, and we're going to be hearing about this. And I'll even probably put this in the title. But you all know I've mentioned this book. It's called Every Spy a Prince, and I said, you know, and there's some new subscribers, so a lot of you may not have heard this. And Every Spy a Prince, and then towards the end of it, it's you know, they're very proud of all the, you know, what the they're from spies, written by spies, you know, for Israel, and they're very proud of the fact. They mentioned at the end of the, I'll just go to the end of the book. Towards the end of the book, they said they're so happy because it was the biggest success. One of the biggest successes they had was to get Christians and Muslims to fight and to kill each other, because they were friends normally all up until a certain time, and maybe, who knows, to the late 1940s or early 50s is when they started getting them to fight against each other. You know, and of course the different groups of the Muslims, the Shia and the Sunni, they had their disputes anyway. And the whole idea of Israel is to, you know, to keep them fighting against each other. And this whole thing in Syria, that's a lot about that too. And which ones are the agents of Israel? And apparently what happened was just last night, maybe 6 hours ago or something like that. So this is kind of like breaking news. People are going to be talking about this probably in the West. It might even happen today. But Syria attacked Lebanon, and they, what is it called? They launched artillery against quite a few villages. I don't know how many people died, but it was late in the hours. And what they're saying is that there were incursions into Lebanon. I don't know if they were soldiers or just regular civilians. And they said that the Lebanese Hezbollah killed these people, and the Hezbollah says they have nothing to do with that. There was, you know, killing any people, any from Syria, and you know, but it's like the Syrians don't believe that, and that's when this book comes into play. And the Israelis have done this again, and how do you know, they made it look like in this book, the guy said like that the Christians were firing at the Muslims and that the Muslims are firing at the Christians, and they did this to make it look like that. And so they got them to hate each other and to keep bombing and shooting each other, and Muslims against other Muslims and things. So they make it look like the other guy is firing at them, and then the other one gets ticked off and fires back, and before too long, even if they know Israel's involved, there's been people killed, so they just keep on doing it. So they keep on fighting each other. So it's perpetual, and then they think that's something really great to celebrate. There's a lot of really nasty stuff, unfortunately, of these Zionist Israelis. Really terrible crap that these people do. But let's see. Let's see. What else? Let's see. Okay. Did I already read this one? Yes. I mentioned already about these attacks, you know, about the U.S. And after that, okay, that was another nuance of it. Okay, what happened? You know, after the United States attacked, apparently the Ansar Allah, the Houthis, they attacked the USS Truman, the aircraft carrier. By the way, that was named after the president that bombed the civilian population of Japan, you know, and killed thousands of them with the nuclear bombs. The first use against civilians, not against military. And even if you guys already know, Japan had already said they are surrendering before that, and they still dropped the bomb. They wanted to see what it would do. It was just experiment and see, you know, how it kills people. Very nice. But I don't know. It's not put out on what the damage was to the USS Truman, and the Houthis are now saying, I guess it was today, early today, they said that, well, it is early now, they said that it thwarted another attack by the United States. So when they were attacking the USS Harry Truman, the United States was at the beginning of conducting another air raid, bombing all kinds of places in Yemen, and it made them turn back. So, and I guess that's true. I guess that is true. The United States had jets in the air on their way to bombing Yemen, and then they were bombing the aircraft carrier. So the United States called them back, the jets. Interesting stuff. So lots of things going on now. Apparently there might even be another big, you think that the deep state was defeated, through Biden and all this, but guess what? It is still going. So Armenia and Azerbaijan, there was big hopes of there being peace between the two, recently, and now the United States prompted Armenia to send troops to the border of Azerbaijan, and that stuff might be starting up again too now, because it looks like Azerbaijan's not too happy about that. Also, huge, massive protests in Serbia. And Serbia, as you know, is one of the most hated countries by a lot of the globalists. Belarus, I believe, the country I'm in right now, is number one. It's absolutely amazing. I tell you what, Lukashenko is so amazing. It's amazing that he's able to stem these people off. It's absolutely amazing. And of course, they use huge propaganda, Voice of America and all this. I talked about that stuff yesterday. And one of their biggest targets, of course, has been Belarus. But another thing, there is a target as Gunter Fehlinger. He is the main guy that is the planner for the expansion of NATO. And you think maybe NATO's dead? Maybe they are. I don't know. But he's the one that decided on what the borders of all the different parts, when they get if they're successful with Russia, how they're going to divide it all up into 41 countries, I believe. He even created flags for all of the different republics in there. And of course, he said, out of his mouth, his hated country most is Belarus. Number 2 is Serbia. It's not even Russia. But he wants to split it all up and all that. Well, a very strange guy. But he is well, he's not an Austrian economist, but he's from Austria, and he's an economist. And like he said, he's the guy that runs the think tank for the expansion of NATO. And yeah, kind of a nasty guy, of course, obviously. So a lot of this stuff going on. So Serbia, huge protests. I mean, how many? Is there 100,000 people? And it's like, wow. And as you know, a lot of time how they do this, they give certain people, key people that are very good at marshaling forces, and there are people that are like that. I've met some of them myself, very persuasive people, and they get paid money, and then when the people go to these protests, they get free food and they get free bus rides and all that sort of stuff, because they did it here in Belarus and they do it all over, so, and a lot of time they get them from different countries even, and they ship them in, and sometimes they don't even tell them that they're going to a protest. They think that they're going like on a tour to some country, very, and it's all paid for free. So that's just to get the bodies there, to make it look on camera like it's, something else. But, they have these training sessions, and you go, like in Kazakhstan, they have one, and you go there and you watch American movies, and, you can get American products. You sit there and eat popcorn and speak English and all that sort of thing. And, yeah, and you get trained to run protests and all that sort of thing. God, my fingers are freezing. Ugh. Okay. But I'll tell you what, these protests are very, very big and all that, and it's a very good chance that maybe Serbia, the present government, which leans towards pro-Russia, in other words, they're not hate Russia, it's a very good chance that government's going to fall, and they're going to install a hate Russia party there. And then that's kind of big. It's kind of like a final step from their first attacks on Serbia back in the old days under the Clinton time. So, and when that happens, it's like, who knows? But I thought they had Georgia, because they had Saakashvili there, and then they attacked South Ossetia and all that. But Georgia is now, for the most part, not anti-Russia. They're really, really tried. They even had politicians from the EU marching in the streets down there, and lots of money. But I don't know. I don't know if they have any hope of getting that one again. Yes, let's see. But I don't know. That's pretty much all on that one. Like I said, the big news is probably what's going on in Syria and Lebanon. So we'll see if there's any cooler heads can stop that, or else it's going to be, and Israel definitely will try to keep that going, and they're going to be celebrating, watching the people kill each other, what they think are their enemies. Yes. But what else? Okay, the U.S. This is really something. We're on the brink of World War III. There's all sorts of these what do you call it? Hostilities popping up all over. The United States is now again threatening Iran, and this is a joke. This is a real joke. And unfortunately, as you all know, Trump is a very willing puppet of Israel. Very, very sad. Maybe he's a puppet of his daughter's wishes, and his daughter loves Israel. So it's really nasty stuff. So they're telling Iran that they will conduct actions against them unless, what was it? They said they stopped their program of developing nuclear weapons. And again, Iran said, we're not making nuclear weapons and we're enriching. Yes, we are. But I guess what Trump wants is them to stop enriching uranium. And part of the deal is, and you never know, I'll tell you what, this deal with Iran, this could, and remember I said this could actually work its way into these negotiations with Russia, and maybe even establishing peace with Iran, because you know how Trump operates. He's saying stop doing this, and he's going to act maybe as if he believes that they are enriching uranium for nuclear bombs, and play along with Netanyahu, who says Iran is 2 weeks away from having a nuclear bomb for the past 30-40 years. And Iran keeps saying, we're not making nuclear weapons. We don't need nuclear weapons. But no, you're making nuclear weapons. We know you are. But the wind, dang. Don't want to lose my hat here. And so, but anyway, he might put this in because Russia has a pact with Iran, and then Russia's going to, part of the agreement is Russia's going to use influence against Iran, which they do have a lot of influence, believe it or not. And, they're saying that Iran is arming the Houthis and, and Hezbollah. All this kind of stuff. None of this stuff has been proven anywhere. They're sure they have friendship with Hezbollah and things, but I don't know that they're doing any arming or with the Houthis or nothing like that, But they look at themselves as brother Muslims. And I don't know if Trump, like I said, is playing dumb. And but he wants them to prove that they're something about his enriching uranium, like that they're not doing it or whatever. And it's like, well, how is Iran to prove a negative? It's like, what is it? Prove to me, you out there, prove to me that you are not planning on assassinating Donald Trump. It's like, how are you going to prove that? So, okay. Oh yeah, another thing I mentioned, I think it was yesterday, and a lot of people getting pissed off, like I said, about when is the Trump administration going to be releasing this information about Epstein and the Kennedy files and Martin Luther King and all that sort of thing. And some reporter was asking him, so you find the tapes out there somewhere, and Trump was saying, in weeks, and I was saying, well, how many weeks is how many weeks is that? You would say weeks as opposed to months or years, but you can also say 52 weeks. 52 weeks is 1 year, 52.14 or whatever the deal is. And so what the heck is going on there? Weeks. I don't know. And I already mentioned about this Epstein thing. They released a lot of this stuff, but they were all pro-Israel people. Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell, her father. These are like, it's a known fact they're connected with Mossad, and Mossad is Israel. These are pro-Israel people that they gave these records to. So that's why we haven't heard anything. So And somebody said the first files, it said it was just flight logs on this other one, and then they said they got a big truckload of stuff. I don't know. Are they going to be putting anything out or not? Obviously, all the stuff about Israel is going to be redacted from it. No doubt about it. Well, finally, there was some other things out. I was just wanted to emphasize the fact that Starmer, Keir Starmer, he is... It's like, I don't know, you never know if these guys are just playing some kind of game, like Medvedev thinks that they're playing like stupid or something, and Starmer is saying that when they're sending these troops to UK, and they said like 30,000, for peacekeepers, 30,000, it's not enough to actually matter against fighting Russians if they were to fight Russians, but it's way too many for peacekeepers, and he said they're going to be there for years. So he's already got the plans made up. And I think it was this week on Thursday, they're supposed to be talking to military people, and they're trying to figure out the logistics and all that on how they're going to get these troops in there. But I don't know. There's no done deals on anything at all yet. Some people are saying, well, you can talk about the troops after the peace deal is already reached. Ukraine doesn't want to reach a peace deal. They're still in the same place they were before all of this began. And, and Trump is... like I said, and there's this article, and they said that Trump is going by ego. That just sounds like something I had already said. Trump is going by his ego, and his ego is, oh, if I can stop this war and all this, and he wants the minerals. I don't know. I should find the name of that article and let you guys know, because it's all the same stuff I've been saying anyway. So it's not that, oh, I'm so smart. It's just that a lot of people, you look at all the signs, how Trump thinks and how Putin thinks, how the Russians think, and all these news people out there trying to make you think that they don't think that way. And Zelensky, he's coming up with all these fakes and feints all over the different place, and these bunch of... So I don't know. Let's find out what happens. And Trump's going to have to use some really, really heavy leverage if he's going to expect anything from Ukraine that he's already thinking. Russia has made their position very clear, and it's all out there. Russia's very transparent about this. So let's just find out. Let's find out what's going to happen. And well, that's all there is today. I got to try to get this video uploaded because, it takes like sometimes 5 or 6 hours for YouTube to upload my videos. And I need my phone, and I can't even use my translator or do anything while the phone is uploading a video. It's useless. So I have to, get this thing uploaded as fast as possible. And it's only 37 minutes. That's pretty good. I put out a lot of good information. But thanks you guys for joining me. And yeah, send the video around. Press the like button, of course. You can feel free to write some comments if you guys heard anything that I don't know. There's just way too much stuff going on. There's little disputes and things, hostilities popping up all over the place. It's incredible. What a time. But yeah, again, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.